Hey there guys, TheMrFrick here, and last time we were playing with Mewtwo, and we really didn't have too much of an issue last time. So this time we're going to be starting with another legendary Pokemon. So, have you guys ever wondered just how viable the legendaries are? I for one grew up believing that all the legendaries were super powerful, but now with recent legendary releases, I'm starting to think less and less of their power. Without having certain additional items to aid them in battle, they just aren't worth it as a viable Pokemon. That's why I'm here challenging each legendary in their respective games to see if they can beat their game without any aid from additional Pokemon or items of battle. I'm writing this section of the script prior to starting the challenge, so I don't know what will go on during the challenge, and I'll be writing the script as I go along, letting you all know the struggles that I go through and have a focus on the main fights of the game. For this challenge, we'll be using the legendary Pokemon Mew. Mew is said to be the ancestor to all other Pokemon via DNA. I honestly can't see how a Mew turned into a Rhydon, but that's besides the point. Mew is unattainable naturally in every Pokemon game, therefore it is an event, glitch, or pay-to-have Pokemon. Like in recent Let's Go Pokemon games, you had to buy the $60 Pokeball Plus in order to get him in the game. In our case, we are rewriting the game codes to start off with a Mew. Taking a look at Mew's stats, we see that this is the best rounded Pokemon of its generation, with 100 base stats in each state. Literally, the definition of rounded characteristics. Mew does not learn anything special via level up, but I think it's pretty amazing that it learns to transform, which has been showcased in a couple of Pokemon movies, but I doubt it's going to be a move that we will use in this game. For TM and HM moves, Mew can learn basically anything, so I'll most likely be defaulting down to Psychic, Flamethrower, Ice Beam, and Thunderbolt as my 4 main moves once I get those TMs. I don't really believe that this is going to be all too difficult. So before we begin, let's go over the rules. I can only use Mew in battle. I can catch and use other Pokemon to learn HMs to get through the rest of the game, no items battle, and no glitches or exploits other than starting with Mew. So let's start. Starting off, we replace Charmander with Mew so that my rival can obtain a Squirtle. Mew doesn't really have any weaknesses except being double weak to dark moves, and for some reason of the 3 starters, only the Squirtle line learns the dark move, Bite. Let's hope that my rival learns this and uses it throughout the battles. For our first rival fight, all our Mew knows is Pound, so we just keep pounding our opponent, Squirtle, until we take it down. Since my starting move is a normal type move, and all I learn up until level 20 is Transform, I don't think I'm going to have a good time against Brock. Upon reaching level 10, we learn Transform. I'm thinking I'll need to train up to beat Brock. I'm probably going to want to be at least level 20 prior to going against Brock, since both his Pokemon are basic beasts. But I could get to level 16, take down his Geodude, and then transform into his Onix to use its own moves against him. I trained to level 16 to see if this plan works. First off is Geodude, and we barely did any damage to him. After pounding him constantly, we managed to get a couple of critical hits here and there that take him out, and I was lucky on that one, but I really don't think we're going to fare too well against his Onix. When his Onix comes out, I transform into it and use its own move against him, but nope. It deals even less damage. This goes on for about another 2 minutes, but I sped it up so you guys can watch this horrible match. I get his Onix down to half health, but we end up dying to a bind. I'm going to have to grind to at least level 20 before I can take down his team, so I can learn Mega Punch. I try this again at level 20 after I've learned Mega Punch. Mega Punch is an 80 power and 85 accuracy move, so we may miss, but we should be dealing more damage than a 40 pound. While training, I realized that if we use Transform, not only do we take on the same move and type of the opposing Pokemon, but we also take on the stats of that Pokemon too. Therefore, if I transform into his Onix, I'm putting myself at a real disadvantage. First off is his Geodude at level 12. Mega Punch deals more damage, but not too much more than Tackle. Also, it's not as accurate, but we don't seem to be missing. By the time we take out his Geodude, we only lost 3 HP. Up next is his Onix. We managed not to get hit by 3 Rock Tombs in a row while managing to hit him each time with a Mega Punch. We get him down to red health and Brock decides not to heal up his Pokemon, which is not normal to me. Usually gym leaders heal their Pokemon, but for some reason Brock chose not to. Oh well. With that, we obtain TM39 Rock Tomb and we teach it to our Mew so we have more type coverage. We're definitely getting rid of this later since it is a terrible move overall. Along the way to Swirling City, we take the Dome Fossil. I knew you would have asked what fossil I'd take, but why not ask anyway? Comments are good for the E2 aggro. Going into the rival fight, we're level 27. We know Pound, Rock Tomb, Thief, and Mega Punch. First up is his Pidgeotto. We miss with 3 Rock Tombs to get hit with a couple sand attacks, lowering our accuracy even more. We have to keep using Pound or Thief if we want any luck in taking out his Pokemon. We take down his Pidgeotto in 2 pounds, his Rattata in 1, Squirtle in 1 pound, and his Abra in another critical pound. We did miss quite a few pounds here and there, but his Pokemon kept using stat changing moves rather than attacking me, so I didn't really feel any danger. Missy has 2 Pokemon, with the highest level being her level 21 Starmie. She has the entire Staryu line in her Pokemon lineup. I think Mega Punches should do the trick here. First up is the Staryu, and it goes down to just 1 Mega Punch. Next up is Starmie, and it tanks a Mega Punch, putting it just under half health and hits us with a Water Pulse for 13 damage. We take it out next turn with another Mega Punch, winning us the badge. So far, Mew has been tremendously good except against Brock, where I had to do my first bit of actual training. Going into the battle on the SSN, we are level 33. We taught ourselves Water Pulse after Missy's gym and got rid of the horrible move Rock Tomb. First off is this Pidgeotto, and we Water Pulse it to death. Next up is this War Turtle, and it tanks a Mega Punch and uses Withdrawal to raise its defense, but sadly it goes down to a pound next turn. Up next is Raticate, and it goes down to a single Water Pulse. Lastly is this Kadabra, and it goes down to a Water Pulse as well. I think this was a super easy battle because we're roughly double his level. If only he trained only 1 Pokemon like we did, he could easily wipe us. The next big fight is Lieutenant Surge, and we're level 34, but most of our attacks are pretty poor hitting moves against them. We have Pound and Thief, which are normally 40 attack, Water Pulse, which is 60 but goes down to 30 against his Electric-type Pokemon. So our best bet is to use the Mega Punch against all 3 of his Pokemon. His highest level is Raichu at level 24. We are faster than his team, but paralysis is a big deal. First up is his Voltorb, which goes down immediately to a Mega Punch. Next up is his Pikachu. We miss a Mega Punch and he uses Double Team to make it even harder to hit him. We miss again and get Thunder Waved, but our Synchronize ability paralyzes his Pikachu as well. He uses a Full Heal, but to a waste as we hit a Mega Punch and bring down his Pikachu. Lastly is his Raichu, which starts off with a Double Team and we miss a Mega Punch. Then he uses a Shockwave, which crits us and brings us down to 3/4 of our health. But we hit a Mega Punch, bringing it down to red health. He uses a Super Potion and we use another Mega Punch to bring it down to a sliver. He hits us again with a Shockwave, but we take it out with a Pound, winning us the 3rd badge. We also get the TM for Shockwave, but we aren't going to teach our Pokemon that move because once we get this out on Cindy, we will gamble for our moves. The next big fight for us is going to be the gym leader Erica. Going into this battle, we know the following moves: Psychic from level 40, Shockwave from Lieutenant Surge, Thief, and Water Pulse. I wanted to get Ice Beam, Flamethrower, and Thunderbolt from the Game Center, but that would cost me a total of $240,000, and I only have around $60,000 currently. Even one of them just cost me $80,000, so I'll get those later on, probably one at a time. Erica's team consists of 3 Pokemon around level 29. I'm going into this fight at level 45 with Psychic, which is a super effective move against all of her Pokemon, so this should be a one-shot domination fight against the gym leader battle. First up is her Victory Belt, and it goes down to 1 Psychic. Next up is her Tangela, and it too goes down to 1 Psychic. And finally the Boblin follows the same fate. With that, we have the 4th gym badge. Up next is Giovanni during the Rocket Hideout. Currently we're going into this at level 48, and his highest level Pokemon is level 29. This should definitely be a one-shot sweep. First up is this Onix, and we Psychic it for a knockout. Next up is this Kangaskhan, and it uses Fake Out against us, flinching us for the turn. We use a Psychic, and he hangs on with a Sliver, and he bites us for a decent chunk of damage. We then use Water Pulse to take him out. Last up is this Rhyhorn, and we take it out with a Water Pulse. With that, we gain the Self Scope, and prior to heading to Lavender Town, I teach my Mew Ice Beam. Like always, our rival impedes our way, asking for a battle. We're definitely heading into this battle completely over leveled, but hey, who cares? If the game wanted me to face him around his level, they would have made this a forced battle earlier on. We're level 49, and his highest level Pokemon is level 25. Up first is this Pidgeotto, and it uses Quick Attack to ensure that it does damage to me, but quickly goes down to an Ice Beam. Next up is War Turtle, and it goes down to a Shockwave. Next is Growlithe, and it gets knocked out by a Water Pulse. Finally, our last 2 Pokemon, Execute and Kadabra, both end up going down to an Ice Beam one after the other. Our rival is no match for our God tier Mew. I managed to go the correct way this time, and so we're going up against Koga next. We are currently level 53, so we shouldn't have any issue going up against this team where the highest level is 43, at least damage-wise. His entire team does know poison moves, and that will kill us if he manages to hit with one. I better hope that we can one-shot his entire team first. So first up is this Coughing, and we use an Ice Beam for a knockout. Next up, he brings out Muck. I follow with an Ice Beam, but it stays at more than half health. Muck sludges us for minimal damage. I try to Ancient Power him, thinking that Rock moves would damage him more, but it only brings him down to red health. He sludges us again. Koga then heals Muck, and we use the Psychic for the complete knockout. Who knew that Psychic moves were super effective? Next up is another Coughing, and we use Psychic to take it out. Finally, a Wheezing, and a Psychic takes it down as well. With that, we have 3 important battles back to back to back. First of them is our rival. We're going in as level 57, which is still 17 levels higher than his highest level Pokemon. You do the math. First up is this Pidgeot, which goes down to a Shockwave. Up next is Blastoise. It uses Protect to protect against Shockwave, so we do it again and take it down to below half, but not enough to kill it. He uses a Bite for 30 damage, then we try to Shockwave again, but only for him to use Protect again. He tries for a third time, but it fails, so we take him out. Up next is a Growlithe, and I use Ice Beam thinking Ice is good against Fire, but I was mistaken. He uses a Flame Whale and deals some damage to me, but it goes down next turn to a Psychic. His next two Pokemon, Execute and Alakazam, both go down to an Ice Beam. Same fight result as last time. I'm hoping not to get burned or really have any status ailment during my fights. If I get an ailment, I will surely be defeated. The next important fight is Giovanni at Silphsco. So we're level 58. His highest level is a level 41 Nidoqueen, so we should easily take down his entire team. First up is his Nidorino, and an Ice Beam takes it down. Nidoqueen is next, only to follow the same fate. Kangaskhan is next in line. We use an Ice Beam and take it down to a quarter of health. It uses Tail Whip, but that doesn't help him at all. We take it down with a second Ice Beam. Finally is Rhydon, and an Ice Beam takes it down in a single hit. The only type coverage I would prefer over Ancient Power is Flamethrower, but I don't really think it is really necessary. So I may stick with Ancient Power for the remainder of the run. Finally we have Sabrina, the final important battle of Saffron City. We're going into this fight at level 58, and our highest level is level 43 Alakazam. I think we should be able to Ice Beam her entire team with little to no issue. First up is her Kadabra, and it goes down to a single Ice Beam. Next up is Venomoth, and it follows suit. I honestly didn't think that Venomoth would go down to a single Ice Beam, but we are higher level than it. Next up is Mr. Mime, and it goes down to a single Ice Beam. Alakazam is last, and we use an Ice Beam, but we get it down to red health. She heals it, and we do the same amount of damage the next time. She heals again, and we repeat again. Third time is a charm since she didn't heal, and we take out the Alakazam with a final Ice Beam. Going up against Blaine, we are level 60. His highest level is level 47 Arcanine, but we really don't have super effective moves to go against him, so I'll have to use a Psychic for this fight primarily. First up is his Growlithe, and we easily take it down with a Psychic. First form Pokemon are just too easy to take down. Next up is Arcanine, and his ability lowers our attack, but good thing we're using special attacks. We use a Psychic, and we get lucky and have a 30% chance where we lower the enemy's special defense since he also managed to survive the attack. He uses Fire Blast but misses. Blaine heals Arcanine only for it to die next turn. Ponyta is up next and goes down to a single Psychic. Last is Rapidash, and we're lucky and get a one-hit KO on it as well. Blaine is down, only one more gym leader left to go. We get to Giovanni and we're level 62, which is good since his highest level Pokemon is level 50, but our level advantage is slowly diminishing. First up is his Rhyhorn, and it goes down to a Psychic. Up next is a Dugtrio, and it goes down to a Psychic as well. Nidoqueen and her king, Nidoking, both go down to an Ice Beam, one after the other. Have to make sure that they both die the same way. We don't want to be choosy here. Finally is his level 50 Rhyhorn, which I'm surprised isn't a Rhydon. It too goes down to an Ice Beam. With that, we have all 8 badges and go head off to Victory Road and the rival fight over there. For this rival fight, we're going in at level 62, while his highest is level 53, so we only have a 9 level advantage. I don't mind, this should be an easy fight. So first up is this Pidgeot, and it uses Quick Attack against us to deal some light damage. We take it out with a Shockwave. Next up is Blastoise, and it takes a Shockwave and uses Rain Dance against us. It manages to tank another Shockwave and bites us for a quarter of our health, but we manage to take it down with another Shockwave. After that is Growlithe, and its ability lowers our attack, but it isn't a stat that we really use, so we Psychic it to death. Next up is Rhyhorn, and an Ice Beam takes it out. Execute is next and goes down to an Ice Beam as well. Finally, Alakazam comes out and tanks the first Ice Beam, just to use Calm Mind, and then goes down to another Ice Beam. With that, we are free to move on to the Elite Four. Going into Elite Four, we're going to be level 66. This is higher than what we were for the Mewtwo run by 5 levels. But who cares? Our stats are as follows. We have 219 HP, 141 attack, 158 defense, 165 special attack, 142 special defense, and 181 speed. Currently we have a decent amount of speed for the Elite Four, but we're pretty average overall in my opinion. It seems that by level up our EV shifted more towards a speed and special attack heavy area. This is good since we want to make sure that we go first and deal a good amount of damage, if not kill them right off. Here are my predictions against the Elite Four. For Lorelei, I think she'll be pretty easy. We have a never missing electric move, but is only at 60 attack compared to a Thunderbolt being at 95. We should be able to one-shot her entire team, but I think Lapras and Cloyster may take a bit more to knock out. For Bruno, we can either use Psychic or Ice Beam to lay waste to his entire team. I really don't understand how he became an Elite Four member. For Agatha, we can use any move against her without any difficulty. I think she will be the second easiest after Bruno. For Lance, we can Ice Beam for a win against since Dragon-type Pokemon are weak to Ice-type moves. Overall, I think we can win at this level, but I don't know how well we will do against Lorelei. She is by far the scariest, but we do have a 12 level advantage on her. So anyway, let's get into it. First up is Lorelei. We should be able to deal a massive amount or one-shot a majority of her entire team. First up is her Dugong, and it uses Hail to make sure that I take damage over time. We use a Shockwave, but only bring it down to half health. I really don't think this is going to work if we can't one-shot Dugong, the squishiest of her team. Another Shockwave brings it down. Up next is Lapras, but our Shockwave doesn't even do half health, so we get confused. With our luck, we hit ourselves and we take an Ice Beam to the face. We then also get pelted by Hail. We hit ourselves again and take another Ice Beam and Hail damage. We aren't really looking too good for this battle. We managed to snap out of confusion, but at this point the battle is already lost. We managed to take down Lapras, but Cloyster comes out and restarts the Hail, and slowly it wills us down to defeat. I go and get the TM to Thunderbolt and teach it to Mew. In order to do this, I had to refight some trainers using the Person Seeker to get some money, so I'm now level 67. With this, I think we can take down Lorelei. Our next attempt is as follows. Dugong comes out, and we Thunderbolt it down to near death. It uses Hail, so we take damage over time for 3 to 5 turns. She uses a full restore, and we deal the same damage again. We use a Psychic to take it out. Lapras comes up next, and we Thunderbolt it for over half health. It uses Confuse Ray on us. We take damage from the Hail. It eats a berry to regain some health, but not enough to be taken out of a Thunderbolt range. We end up hitting ourselves in Confusion, and we get hit by an Ice Beam. We hit ourselves in Confusion again, and take a critical serve to the face. We're only at 14 HP left. Any hit can easily take us down. We managed to Thunderbolt Lapras to death. Next up is Cloyster, and to my surprise it goes down in 1 Thunderbolt as well. Slowbro is next, and he is a tanky one, but again goes down to 1 Thunderbolt. Last but not least is Jinx. She does not take double damage to a Thunderbolt, so I had to look up what to use, hence the long pause we have in this battle. And I found that Rock-type moves are good against her, so we use an Ancient Power to take Jinx out, barely scraping out of this battle alive. Up next is Bruno, and this should be an easy one. First up is Zonix, and we use Ice Beam to take it down. Next is Hitmonchan, and a Psychic takes it down in 1 hit. Up next is his kicking brother Hitmonlee, and again goes down to a Psychic. Onix returns, and an Ice Beam takes him out. Finally, Goro comes out, and we take it out with a Psychic because 4-armed people get easily confused about how many arms they should have. Third is Agatha, and I forgot to heal before going to battle again, but it doesn't matter since she's a walk in the park anyway. She starts by sending out her first Gengar, and it goes down to a Psychic. Next is Golbat, and a Thunderbolt oddly takes it out in 1 hit. Arbok is next, and our attack gets lower due to its ability, but we take care of it with a special attack called Psychic, so who's the chump now? Intimidate my ass. Next is her second Gengar, and it follows the first to the grave with a Psychic, and finally comes Haunter. Haunter dies to a Psychic as well, beating Agatha. Next up is Lance, and we're at level 69. Nice. His highest level is a level 60 Dragonite, but for the most part we usually take it down with his entire team with a Thunderbolt or an Ice Beam. So first up is his Gyarados, and since it is 4 times weak to Thunderbolt, I take it down in 1 hit. Next up is Aerodactyl, and I Ice Beam it to death. Dragonite is next, and even an Ice Beam can jumpstart the diabetes on it to take it down as well. Dragonair 1 and Dragonair 2 are the last 2 Pokemon at level 54, and they both go down to Ice Beams. We leave this battle 4 Ice Beams and a Thunderbolt down, but still with full health. So this is it. All the marbles on this last fight. We're going in at level 69. Nice. His highest level Pokemon is level 63, which is the starter Blastoise. I wanted him to have Blastoise so he could bite us, which it has, but we have a Thunderbolt so it should easily go down. We get his Pidgeot down to near death using a Thunderbolt, and he heals his Pidgeot only to die next turn. Blastoise goes down to 2 Thunderbolts and misses a Hydro Pump against us and eats a berry. Up next is Arcanine, and he cuts our attack in half. We take it down in 2 Psychic moves. Up next is Alakazam, and it goes down on an Ice Beam. Next is Rhydon, and it too goes down into an Ice Beam. Lastly is his Exeggutor, and we use an Ice Beam, but it tanks the shot and uses Sleep Powder on us. He uses a full heal while we are asleep and then uses a Giga Drain and a Light Screen before we wake up. This makes our Ice Beams do way less damage to it, but it is our most damaging move, so it's all we really have. He puts us to sleep again and uses a full restore again. Then he uses a Giga Drain before we wake up, but only to be put back to sleep. He uses another Giga Drain on us and it critically hits us to defeat. We lost due to horrible luck here, so we had to fight him again, and our second attempt went as follows. Pidgeot goes down to a single Thunderbolt, so we're only doing a lot better here. Next up was Arcanine and lowered our attack one stage, but it went down into 2 psychics. Up next was Blastoise, and we used the Thunderbolt. It did over half health and it ate a berry, but missed its own attack. And it went down next turn to another Thunderbolt. Up next is Alakazam, and it goes down to a single Ice Beam. Next is Rhydon, and again goes down to a single Ice Beam. No additional defense buffs are up on their side, so we're doing way better in this attempt. Last is the punk bitch Executor, who puts us to sleep all the time. But we use an Ice Beam to freeze it. He uses a full restore, so we Ice Beam it again. He uses a full restore, so we Ice Beam it again. He uses yet another full restore, so we use Ice Beam again. And he uses another full restore, so I Psychic it to deal less damage than the total health that we were doing currently with the Ice Beam. And then we take it out next turn with an Ice Beam. So with that, we are now the champion and have officially beaten the game with just a single Mew. Mew had a really rocky start and a really rocky ending, but mostly due to poor luck on the ladder. Rock was unbearable for the first time since all we knew was normal type moves, but we farmed to level 20 to get Mega Punch and swept our way through the first 4 gyms with that, really. Afterwards, our next big challenge was Lorelei, in which we had to get a Thunderbolt TM and not have too much confusion bad luck. Mew is overall rounded out legendary, not focusing on any stat in particular. He allows you to level it up to the EVs to your standard, so you can customize them all you want, and by that I mean you could really customize Mew, since you can basically learn any move in the game. Only thing you can't customize is his type, but Psychic really doesn't have that many weaknesses. I have to give Mew a stamp of approval on this one, guys. Mew is really just that good. If you like this video, why not check out my channel for more videos like it, or for something new to watch, such as my many different game playthroughs or lore readings. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching.